Well, today's episode is going to be just a two review. As you know, we have ChocoPro featuring, of course, the Super Asia Championship being on the line. And once again, we have Halloween Rumble. If you guys remember that, this is where everybody comes out in their Halloween costumes. I thought last year was really fun, but let's see how fun this year really is. And of course, we continue with more of New Japan Pro Wrestling Battle Adam. I think we're in day 12. So this is going to be very interesting. As you know, we got some important matches coming up, more of a previews of what's yet to come, and we still continue on with the tournament for the IWGP World Television title. And of course, we got several news updates to share what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Leader Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Lead Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, let's begin with Choco Pro 266, I believe. Now, keep in mind, this will be the last time we'll see Balinaki. As you know, he'll be doing a second U.S. tour. Now, in this first match, well, he's not involved since his big match is the next one. But we have once again the Halloween Rumble match. Now, if you don't remember this one from last year, this is where everybody comes out with as costumes. I did saw someone dressed up as Rocky Balboa, Freddy Krueger, a cat, a bat, a doll, and I forgot what other ones. But this time we have very interesting ones. Our first match we have Chiko Shikawa. She dressed up as a cat versus Sayuri. I don't know if she was dressing up as Alice in Wonderland, but I did saw on her Twitter page that she went to work that way since it's Halloween. Tokiko Kihara. I don't know who she was dressed up as. I got a little lost. Then, of course, we got Sayaka Obihiro. Don't know what she was dressed up. But she didn't come alone. She brought in Masahiro Takanashi dressed up as Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, you heard me right. Winnie the Pooh. He was all dressed up. And, of course, we got Mia Yosuba dressed up as a zombie. And then, of course, we have Chonchiru as some sort of a Chinese character or something, who's dealing with the Chinese zombie. So that kind of fits in pretty well. I kind of completely got lost, but I can tell you the ones who got eliminated was Sayuri, Tokiko, Miya, and Shon, then Masahiro. But however, the last match and the last part of the match was a showdown between Sayaka Obihiro and Chiko Shikawa, and I was surprised it was Chiko Shikawa who walked out as the victor as soon as he had to deal with Masahiro Takanashi, aka Winnie the Pooh. But it did work out pretty well. So I thought it was a pretty good match. Now, our next match is the Super Asia Championship. Now, keep in mind, a week ago, Tamura pinned Balinaki during a tag match. Now, this gave him the opportunity to, in fact, to have a shot of the Super Asia title. However, he did not acknowledge it. So Balinaki kind of told him, since he pinned him, does he really want to have an opportunity to challenge him for the title? Now, I'm sure, what's his name, Tamura, was a bit of surprised. But of course he was going to say yes. He can't turn down an opportunity. How often do you pin a champion and then all of a sudden you don't acknowledge the fact that you pin him, you get an opportunity for a title? And I think Tamura felt, why not? Let's take it. So he took the opportunity, and that's exactly what he did. So this match was absolute amazing. I have to say Balinaki does some amazing work when he does this on the chocolate square mat. I was impressed by this whole match. You probably would have assumed Tamara would have been close to win this title, but no, Balinaki, as the fierce champion that he is, like he will accept any challenger no matter where they're at. Even if he has to acknowledge the fact that he got pinned, that kind of sets it a different tone. But it was the diving splash that allowed him to win the match. And that he thought it was a pretty good match that he really, really put him to his limits. And what can I say? He did actually did. Now we have, of course, the Janken tournament. I can tell you, I thought Balinaki was getting back because he back at his weight due to the fact that he passed the first round, but he didn't pass the second round thanks to Chiko Shikawa. Of course, I did not anticipate that Chiko Shikawa was going to win it all the way, even though she did not win the Halloween Rumble. I mean, she did win it last year, but this time she was the Junkin. So I thought it was pretty cool. Now, during their post show, they announced for two major updates. This one is going to be interesting for some of you. Even if I have any viewers out there coming from the UK, you may or may not have been aware that ChocoPro will be coming to your backyard. That's right, you heard me right. ChocoPro will be coming to UK. Don't know exactly much of the details, but this is going to happen on November 13th. And then on 28th of December, they're going to have the arena in Shikiba for the last ChocoPro of the year. So now you probably say they're really going to bring the chocolate mat. No, they have used the ring before as a ChocoPro setting in the past. So basically, we'll see that. Can't wait to see that. But friendly reminder, as I said, Balinaki will be in the U.S. for a little bit for a second tour, and speculations that he'll be reunited with his best bro. So I'm excited for that. I don't know if they've been booked already for any upcoming events, but we'll see what happens. I can't wait to see that. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's move on with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Battle Atom. Don't know what the location, but this has recently took place. We have Kosei Vegeta, the young lion, taking on Doiki. Now, you probably can guess right away Doiki had this in the bag. Yes, he has this in the bag because he's the bit of a veteran, but you probably would have assumed that he was going to give a taste of the young lion's medicine. No, he ended up what as Gino Gambino calls it, the Doki Choki, which is he puts them in a choke with his legs and tries to pull the arms uh, harder this way forward to him in order to choke him out, which it was helpful. So he actually won it. I don't know what he calls it, but that's what Gino Gambino calls it. Next up, the other young lions, most consistent of Rohi Oiwa and uh, Yudo Nakashima, takes on the Unite Empire, consistent of Great Khan and Jeff Cobb. Now, you can say this was a pretty good match. I have to say the Young Lions really did an impressive match with the United Empire, but however, it did not do any well. They ended up in some sort of a combination neck breaker onto Oiwa and finished the match. However, as you know, for a long time, the Great Khan and Jeff Cobb have been trying to get the attention of FTR to give them the challenge of their lives in Osaka that's coming up real soon. They want a chance to regain the titles that they lost in Forbidden Door because the rule of thumb here is that they were not pinned by FTR at Forbidden Door. It was in fact Roppongi Vice, and that's exactly what happened. So, as you know, we already saw those titles defended, and they lost to that, but FTR retained them when they defeated the other members of United Empire, Aussie Open. Next match we have, I believe, yes, House of Torture, more consistent of Dick Togo and an Evil taking on Master Wato and Yukileo. Now, keep in mind, I don't know if Sho or Yojo Takahashi made it back or they just were still in flight. If you guys remember, they went straight to New York City for the Rumble on 44th Street where they defeated Chaos members Rocky Romero and what's his name? and Yo, but of course they may have won the match, but Chaos won the night. So this time it was a pretty good match, but I can say this. I feel bad for Dick Togo. He just got squashed again by the 7 foot giant, you know? So he looks like he was lying down like a dead duck. Now keep in mind on this one, during the pro match, he's calling out Carl Anderson, but he also requested he does not want this title to be handed over to him because he feels that's too dishonorable. So he's requesting that this match is postponed for another time. But he will be facing Yujiro Takahashi and in Osaka, Japan. I think I might put that on news updates real soon, but we'll get to that. Next up, we got Tiger Mask, Alex Zane, and David Finlay taking on Suzuki Goons, Taka Michinoku, Taichi, and Zack Sabre Jr. I thought this match was pretty good because I was like, I know that Alex Zane had some fun issues towards Desperado, but he was not involved in this match. But as you know, David Finlay did lose to Zack Sabre Jr. In the tournament for the IWGP Television Title, so I'm sure that would have been the reasons that he wants to have like a bit of retribution, and that's exactly what he did with Taka Michinoku when he applied the Trash Panda on him, giving them the win. But it didn't meant anything to Zack Sabre Jr. because his opponent that he will be facing in the tournament will be none other than Evil himself. Next up, we got the other members of Suzuki Gun, are Yoshinobu Kanemaru and El Desperado taking on Bullet Club Ghetto and Taiji Shimori. Now, keep in mind, Despi it is going to be part of that four-way real soon, in against Taiji Shimori, Wato, and Hiramu. So this match was pretty good, but in fact, it was a figure four leg lock by Kanemaru that put Ghetto to tap out. So he had no other choice but to tap. Pretty good victory, but we'll see what happens when that fatal four way coming up soon. Our next match, the saga continues with Lij and United Empire. We have four members of the Lij. We have Titan, Bushi, Hiramu, and Tetsuya Naito taking on the United Empire with that weasel who calls himself the conductor, or whatever he calls himself. Gideon Gray, Aaron Henare, Francesco Cara, and TJP. Now, I have to say, Naito likes to mess around with Gideon because he stole his jacket. And I thought it was very hilarious how this is going to go. You know Gideon Gray, he cries like a little girl for that, or complains like a little girl. You probably thought that, but here's the thing right now. The last few weeks, we have witnessed United Empire more consistent. They've been losing to Lij, but they did have one match on them. But however, I am continuing to be impressed by the combination of both Titan and Bushi, that maybe there is a chance they could win these titles. However, of course, it was Hermu who picked up the win when he applied the Boston Crab on Gideon Gray, but they refused to give him back his jacket. So that's how it goes. But as you know, the current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, they realize they have to be on their best guard. So they have to do what they can to ensure. They believe they are far more better team than Bushi and Titan. But I have seen how those two have becoming better at what they are as a tag team. Now, our next two matches, the IWGP World Television Title Tournament, we have Ren Narita versus Yano. Now, Ren, oh my God, Narita, he really attacked Yano right away. He didn't want to wait until that long speech, but you know that Yano will do every trick in the book in order to win this match. But Narita wasn't following that; it was not going to let that happen. So he continued to give him a pounding no matter what. But finally, he did a jumping foot stomp right onto Yano. It was over right from there. So who will be his next opponent to face? Well, we have Kenta and Sanada. Now you know Kenta. He doesn't want to wrestle. He tries to be all lazy, like try to do things under his way. But Sanada tried to play a little game with him. It did not work last time. But you know Kenta would do everything in his power to win the match, even if he has to use a weapon. But that did not work until uh, Sanada applied the bridge onto Kenta, giving him the reason it didn't work because Kenta hit his face right on the exposed corner buckle away from what happened. And then, of course, the post match, as we normally expect from promo from Sonata, he was interrupted by Ren Narita. Looks more like Ren Narita is on a mission, but we'll see how that goes. Now, do I consider him, Narita, be one of those possible wrestlers? I could say that, but I'll talk about that some other time. So we'll get to that soon enough. And I think that's pretty much it with it. Let's move on with some news updates. Okay, welcome to our news updates. Now, some of you WWE fans may have heard, or you haven't, but pro wrestling fans in general may have heard, but you guys may have heard this. Pro Wrestling Noah has announced for one of Great Muda's final matches taking place on New Year's Day, which is going to be awesome. It's going to be the Great Muda versus the King of Strong Style, Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, I know what you WWE fans are thinking. Some of you loyalists, you're thinking, yes, they're going to work together with Noah. No, no, no. That's not how it happened. This is what I did. What was revealed. Noah contacted WWE, asking them permission if it's okay for Shinsuke Nakamura to participate in the final matches. Now, some of you will probably question: has Shinsuke ever worked with Noah before? No, he never has, but he has come across Keiji Muto when he his normal personality in New Japan while he was still with New Japan. So that's going to be interesting. Now, I don't think Nakamura has ever faced Muto. Hopefully, I'm wrong, but that's how it is. Now, this is something similar that we have seen before years ago with Kenta when he was known as Hideo Otami. If you guys remember, WWE likes to change the names. Um, Kenta was originally from Pro Wrestling Noah, and he did a one-off match during the 20th anniversary of Naomichi Marufuji, where they set up that match a couple years back, and Marufuji was the one who won. But Kenta came back as Hideo Itami, not as Kenta. Even though I can hear people calling him Kenta, this is like prior before the pandemic, so that kind of fits into its own story, own thing. But it was great to see it. So, uh, but yeah, so there's no indication about Pro Wrestling Noah working with New Japan with WWE. I do know that Sting will be appearing in Pro Wrestling Noah soon. Will be his first time. He'll be teaming with Great Muta in a tag match. However, there is no indication about Pro Wrestling Noah ever having a partnership with WWE or AEW. I know that they have come to agreements over having talent come over to their territory, and I have no problem with that. But to all you WWE loyal fans, don't get it twisted, okay? There hasn't said anything. But if you guys know this or not, they did try to purchase Pro Wrestling Noah WWE, but did not work out. So that's pretty much it. Now, with New Japan Pro Wrestling Battle Adam in Osaka coming up soon, I did mention that Hikuleo will be facing Yujiro Takahashi. Now, keep in mind, they did apparently there were Carl Anderson was double booked for that particular event. Um, that kind of sets into a different people. As you know, Carl Anderson refuses to acknowledge, hasn't responded to New Japan's what they're asking. Like they wanted him. Now, keep in mind, Carl Anderson wasn't is a free agent. He's not officially with the New Japan. He just probably had some agreements with them, but he refuses to talk to them. So they're gonna wait for his response. Hopefully he does, because I feels that New Japan might be upset with them, that maybe Carl Anderson might have burned some bridges with them. So we'll see about that, because some of you are speculating now, especially the WWA fan base, that this is their way of trying to hope that could build up a working relationship. Now keep in mind, New Japan has this other way how they do it. Like does that benefit them? Because there's talk about that before with Dave Meltzer that he mentioned. Like, would it benefit New Japan? Obviously, it won't because WWE will try to make themselves look better than New Japan. That's the whole thing that's going on. But we'll see what happens then. But however, Hikuleo will have his match, but not for the Never Openweight title. So he's decided to settle with Yujiro Takahashi. I'm not sure what it is, but I can tell by the story it could felt big maybe because Yujiro Takahashi didn't like the idea of the fact that Hikuleo was the one who requested a match for the Never Openweight six-man tag team title. So hopefully that was the whole storyline, but we'll see about that how it goes. Now, in the world of Yoshi, you guys know this promotion. Not a big promotion, but it's like very small. World Women Pro Wrestling Diana has announced that one of their trainees, named Kaho, has been now promoted to the production department assistant. Now, I don't know what that means, but yeah, it feels like it. But they but they did assure that she will be interacting with the fan base and all that stuff. I mean, it's pretty good. I cannot recall if there was any promotion with any wrestler promoted to whatever position the company is going to have. You know, if you guys never seen World, there are some events they put on YouTube, like all the way from 2020, 2021 or so. Uh, there's some you can see some events they put in. I forgot the name of the YouTube channel. I'll have to look it up, but yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much it. So so I don't know what, I'm just putting it out there if you guys are big fan or fans or ever watched Diana before. So yeah. Now, our final two updates here are related to GCW. The first one, as you know, we got the Nick Gage Invitational 7. They just announced for the next entrant number 9. We have Ratty Daddy, Cold Radrick. So perfect fit, as you know. Cold Radrick has been getting himself involved more and more and more with death matches. Perfect fit for him, so I thought it was good. Now, in the statement of what happened, as you guys know, there's been the situation with Fatu. Now, as you some people say, why did they allow Fatu to, he was double booked on that particular day? This is what Brett Lauderdale, the owner of GCW, had to say about. Some people put in the speculations on certain things about Fatu being double booked. This is what he said. That's not exactly what happened. He double booked himself for this date, but he had to committed to House of Glory first, so he honored that booking as he should. Now, people were saying certain things that were not true, so Brett Lauderdale protected him. Now, Fatu said something to show gratitude to Brett Lauderdale. So this is what he said. Brett Lauderdale has always treated us with respect and has taken great care of me, Juicy Finau, when we are with GCW. Starboard Charlie and Juicy Finau killed it last night. It was great on their behalf as the young upcoming talent being able to execute the match themselves. So people like to speculate certain things. Like some people might have thought Brett Lauderdale was angry with Jacob Fatu for choosing House of Glory over them. But here's the thing: when it's come double booked, you have to say you already committed to something first. So basically, that's what he wanted to do. Brett Lauderdale still that he has to honor that. You cannot start a fight with talent that you know they show value when you book them to your events, and I think that's understandable. That's what I've been noticing. So sometimes when you double book, it's like, oh shit, why did I book 2 days on the same day? It's unlike, if you guys know this, there's been cases of double booking in Japan, but it's mostly if you're booked in Tokyo, but you have to haul ass to wherever venue. Keep in mind, Tokyo is a big city, so I already seen that with Mei Shiruga, Balinaki. They had to haul ass to the next where they have to go. They had to leave the Ichigaya Square to head to the venue, and that kind of sets in the whole thing. So I did see that recently in Stardom, more particularly with Saki, who had a match in Stardom, but she had to leave as soon as possible to go to Collega Pro Wrestling at the same city. I think it was in Osaka. But yeah, so that kind of sets into another thing. So that's the reason double booking is a little tricky. But here in the states, you have to honor where you committed first. Like which is the promotion you actually said yes first before being booked for the other one. So that kind of sets in the whole thing. So don't get it twisted, people. That's what I'm saying to you. So I think that's pretty much it right now. I believe it's time to call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode coming up. I think I got to catch up with some wrestling events that took place this weekend. I can only do so much, so I'm just going to surprise you. But however, I will put AEW Dark Elevation last. So we'll see what happens. So it could be anything. It could be GCW. It could be the Fi. It could be anything. So let's see what happens then. So for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. Mwah, and have a nice day. Bang.